The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ. Salute.
Salute. It is Friday in the Rev. Thanks heavens, TGIF. And again, the news rages, the campaign rages. And so what's up today, CJ?
Well, one of the things is, I guess it was released yesterday, is Jasiel has about 8 weeks to get his things in order. So it's going to be interesting to see. I'm looking to see if they gave him an exact date yet. He's still under bail restrictions, by the way. So I don't know what that's going to be, but he's going to have a tough time doing things.
Yeah, I think they did say at the sentencing hearing, didn't a judge say that the specific date is up to the Department of Corrections?
Yes, it's up to the Bureau of Prisons
or whatever they call
it.
Yeah, another euphemism for the jail.
Another euphemism, right?
Yeah, the jail keepers. Yeah, his new home.
Right. So he's got about 8 weeks to get his affairs in order. The Herald News wrote a big article about it. But from what I can tell, there's no date in the article. They talked a lot about what his day-to-day life is going to look like, in an afternoon wedding on August 20th, tied the knot and had what appeared to be a festive reception at the bride's. I love it now. They're saying it's the bride's family restaurant, townhouse restaurant on Purchase Street. So... yeah. In conversation during the trial, Correia told reporters that he and his now wife designed the attractive facility themselves. Wasn't that nice?
Yeah. Another talent.
Yeah.
That we didn't realize.
I mean, he's the master of all trades, huh?
Yes, and look, you got to give him credit. He could sell ice to Eskimos.
Right.
He is pretty good at that, and well, we'll see. He's got 8 weeks, and it's kind of an easy, people are still really, really engaged in that story, and obviously they should be, and just goes to show what abuse of power can do. But so we'll see.
What's interesting is that the local media, the Herald News, is consistently writing stories almost on a daily basis about Jasiel. It's either a very slow news week,
or they don't want to write stories about, they don't want to write stories. It's kind of like Hunter Biden. You don't see anything about Hunter Biden except on a couple of media outlets and a couple of newspapers. They just said he was trying to make deals with Libya. So right. That's a new one. So, this is the problem. Remember what, if you read history, there's a little conflict of who actually originally said it between Adolf Hitler and Joseph Goebbels. But we've said it on our show plenty of times. If you tell a big enough lie often enough, people will begin to believe it.
Of course.
And that was their propaganda foundation in Nazi Germany. And it's the same here. Look at January 6th. You look at people, you look at the left saying it's on par with Pearl Harbor and 9/11. And had they gotten in there, they would have murdered the vice president and congressman. I don't think anybody that was in there that was arrested had any arms. The only fatality was an unarmed civilian female, right, who was shot by a Capitol police officer with a record of being, a little callous and but they covered it all up and they did everything they can. And that's the problem. Look, we no longer have a mainstream media. The mainstream media is fundamentally a propaganda arm for certain politicians and parties. We know that they're owned by ultra liberals, and it's the same in Fall River. We've seen coverage from local media outlets it's very skewed towards certain people. They pick a political side and they will cover it up. I don't know. Did Jasiel's did the agreement about Jasiel going to jail? Did it end with the sentence? If you don't like these conditions, go jump in the Taunton River.
I knew we were going to go there. That's for sure. I will tell you now, and for the record, I have reviewed that video several times of the mayor's victory speech in Scotty's Pub. And I mean, I can find it probably all over YouTube, and all over Facebook, and so can you. But I think the thing that really bothered me was Ray Mitchell, Ray Haig said on WSAR that statement was a lie, that he never said to jump in the river. And then Pat Casey called in and said that a caller lied and that the mayor never said that. He may have said get on a boat and jump and go for a swim or something. That's baloney. He never said anything about get on a boat. So again, Pat Casey lying again. Okay, so we have three people, two of which are in the media now because they're hosting on WSAR for Will Flanagan, and I don't think any of them remember looking at the video or even paying attention to when he was speaking. But I will say this: Eric Tolley did it again. So let's see if the mayor reprimands him this time. Eric Tolley continues to make what the mayor said an even bigger issue with this cartoon. He made a cartoon that says Fall River Arcade. The mean mayor, D-A, mean, M-E-N-E, mayor, M-A-Y-E-R, told me to, T-W-O, jump in the river. And it shows a meme of, looks like Cliff, with his arm up, with two sharks circling him in front of the battleship.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Now, this same person was already allegedly reprimanded once by the mayor. Let's see if the mayor reprimands him a second time.
You mean the guy that doesn't live in Fall River?
Yeah, the guy that doesn't live in Fall River.
And is engaging in all kinds of partisan Fall River politics, but he's not looking for anything. I believe the mayor's saying those people that are looking for something, and what disturbs me is that they're denying and you've seen it, right? He did say that.
I have watched the video several times.
And it was said. So
it was.
But listen, I believe in Ponte's speech, he talked about a tale of two mayors. You have the campaign Coogan. This is nasty, dirty. We expected this campaign, because let's face it, Paul Coogan can't run on any accomplishments. He didn't do anything. All he did was occupy the 6th floor, and use COVID as a cover.
What's interesting, I got to stop you there, because what's interesting is, you just said a tale of two mayors. What's interesting is Paul, in his victory speech, said very clearly that the other people, his opponent and his supporters, are being divisive. Don't quote me on that. Don't use that as a quote, but that's the intent I got out of this thing. And he was saying that they're spreading lies. Meanwhile, his people are doing the same thing. And he's been one of the most divisive mayors in the city of Fall River. And he's a bully. He talks about, Cliff's supporters being bullies, and he's the bully. He's the big bully, and that's why his supporters are trying to bully people just as bad. They're following the example.
Well, look, that's extremely common. If they took, basic general psychology, they would realize that that's called projection. So they're projecting on other people. But see, this is the problem. You know, Paul Coogan tries to play Mr. Nice Guy. You know, all the kids love me. Everybody likes me. Why don't you like me? Don't you want to go to heaven? Let's be nice. Then he tells people who disagree with him to go jump in a river. Go jump in the Taunton River. Now, what's more divisive than that? Oh, wait a minute. One of his pals, one of the guys that all his buddies with, his gang of 4 pals from the school committee covered for, and he recused himself because heaven forbid he get rid of a serial predator that's the superintendent of schools.
Right.
What did he say? You don't like it? Move to Russia.
I remember. That wasn't Paul who said that. That was Matt Malone.
But that's not divisive.
No.
Don't try to bring people in. Don't try to find common ground. No, you don't like it. You disagree with me. We cancel you. Go jump in a river. Go ahead. And then little Tally from out of town is making duh, and making fun of the intellectual ability of the people who support another candidate. I think you have to question his intellectual ability.
I am going to give the quote verbatim as Paul says it. We're going to see what we're going to do with these other candidates who are out to see what they can get. Candidates think about themselves and what they can get and what they're going to do. They can go jump in the Taunton River. That's what he said, quote unquote. I wish I could play this video for you because and get you the audio, because I'm telling you now, it was very clear.
It's all over
very
Facebook,
clear,
right?
And a lot of people took umbrage to it because they believed, and this is the perception people have, and that's just what you have to deal with, that the mayor was telling his opponent and his supporters to jump in the Taunton River, which is exactly what he said, and they believed that he supporting suicide. That's what they believed. And a lot of people took umbrage to that because they've had somebody who's lost their life by jumping off the Braga Bridge or jumping off the Veterans Bridge and dying. So, again, you need to think about what you say.
Yeah, and obviously they have a different perspective. But as I said, and it is tragic because actually I had to go down to the Taunton River and look for some of these people. And in and around the Taunton River. I remember one soul who missed the river and landed in the parking lot. And that was not a very, that was a memorable in a very bad way scene of what was left of him. And I understand that. But from a citizen's standpoint, one of his minions is again, and this is a very, very common tactic for the phony left, because the phony left preaches where we want to give everybody everything and let thousands of people come across the border, but you better put your mask on. We'll throw you in jail. You're going to spend a year in jail with no trial for trespassing on a building that you own. So, this is all BS to the highest order. What concerns me is we have a mayor who's proven again that he does not work with people. If you don't agree with me, go jump in the Taunton River. I'm going to cancel you. I don't even want you in my universe. And You're stupid. Everybody that supports anybody me is stupid. And that disturbs me. And then I heard some of his minions got on and said, well, he didn't mean it that way. Well, he didn't mean it that way. You got a guy that's got a college degree, or should have if he was a guidance counselor and a vice principal. You got a guy with a college degree that can't articulate his own position clearly. I think he was very clear. I think what happened was we had a little slip. He was surrounded by his supporters, feeling high on a preliminary victory, and he let the real Paul Coogan slip out. The Paul Coogan who's strong-arming people, bringing in people to strong-arm letters of endorsement, and he slipped. And he really articulated how he feels. If you don't support me, go jump in a river. Because I'll make sure you never get anything. Well, let's look at his record. Didn't he throw anybody who disagreed with him off a board? Yeah, we know cases of that. Yeah. We've seen what he does. If it's his way or the highway. And it's not only his way and the highway. You can't talk to him. The budget. Now we know who was right. Did he truly ambush the city council? Or was it just the city council's inaction and they didn't know the charter? No, we know that the scenario that was proposed, that he intentionally implied that he was going to bring something back and let them let their guard down and duplicitously counted the days and then rammed it down their throat. So you know what he did in essence to them? He threw them in a Taunton River on the budget.
Right.
So,
right.
Actions speak louder than words. All these keyboard commandos and their memes and, this is all politics. And I'm going to tell you, I'm a little, maybe you could say I'm a little, I'm a little strange, but I'm really enjoying this. We're going back to the 80s in the politics. This is one of the most clandestinely dirty campaigns I have ever seen. There is stuff going on in the city that the voters don't know. But remember, when his supporters use the people, the mayor, they're saying you're stupid.
That's right.
They are doing what this was. He doing this when he was saying that? Jump in a river? Because I don't do Facebook, you know that. I didn't see it on Facebook. So, but the thing is, they're calling you stupid.
Actually, yes. He's doing this.
There you go. They can go
jump in the Taunton River.
There's a tell because Paul. Geez, go get a class in hand gestures and stuff because actually politicians do have that. Remember, this is the new one for them. Like this, you don't point at people. That is a negative and aggressive action. You listen to me, student, and you listen to me, stupid voters of Fall River. If you don't agree with me, go jump in the Taunton River because you're useless.
Yep.
So take a class, Paul. I'm going to give you a quick one. Go like this with your hand. Make a little fist, put your thumb out, and go like that. Well, exactly. And it's like my hand's too damn big to get the whole in the picture. But that catches me. But that's the thing, and that's what's insulting because then they try to you say it, and then they try to cover it up, and what they're doing is deflecting. It's like now. What are they doing? What are they doing in the federal government? Now they want to talk about the COVID, this and that. They don't want to talk about 15,000 Haitians on the border and another 32,000 coming up from Central America and South America. They want to deflect everything. They don't want to talk about Afghanistan. The president went in front of the UN and said, we've turned the page. Well, there are 13 families who can't turn the page because they lost a loved one because of his incompetence. And there are still 4 soldiers. I don't know if they're the Marines. Yeah, I think they're Marines because most of them were Marines and a corpsman. I don't believe it was a corpsman. But there were 4 Marines still in the hospitalized from that bombing 30-some days later. So, this is all political crap. So the moral of that story is, don't go jump in the Taunton River. Vote. Go to your nearest poll and vote. And if you agree with them, by all means, vote for them. If you don't agree, listen to facts. Don't listen to this kind of BS rhetoric, because it's all
what I think is going on with this election, and this is something I firmly believe that Cliff Ponte is going to have to overcome, is people believe that Paul Coogan did not get an opportunity to truly be mayor. He was caught up in a pandemic, which took all his time, and they're firmly believing that they want to give him a second opportunity to be mayor. In other words, they want to give him a second opportunity to screw the taxpayer once again. Because remember what Mary Sahadi said to the city council: we may have to go and enact the debt exclusion by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Okay. Which means Paul's saying, I'm going to raise your taxes. Yeah. Any way you look at it, if Paul is mayor, Paul's going to raise your taxes come July 1st. I just had to have a conversation with my bank because they reduced my escrow because my taxes supposedly went, my taxes aren't going to be as high. And I turned around and said, you forgot the debt exclusion. And I said, what's that? I said, Fall River has a debt exclusion, which is going to increase our taxes, and that goes into effect July 1st. They said, oh, we're going to have to get a hold of your tax assessor's office and find out if that's correct and how much it's going to be going up. You know what the assessor's office said? We don't know how much it's going to go up.
Of course. Yeah. Well, let's face this. That is another
lie that Paul told.
Another Goebbels-esque lie.
Right.
He was the COVID because good Paul, not good Paul, bad Paul, Dr. Paul and Mr. Paul, like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, in case you didn't get that little play on words. He's telling you, oh me, oh my, look what I did. I was passing out peas. I was giving out meals. Well, that's why you have people that work for the city. And it was possible to do something during a pandemic. I happen to know and am friendly with the president of the city council of the city of Taunton. Do you know what the mayor of Taunton did during the COVID? She worked on the city. Taunton completely revamped their permitting process to make it easier for businesses to get into Taunton and do business. They worked on mechanical issues and things like that all during the COVID. So don't say you can't get nothing done, because something that's absolute BS. Because there are other communities that actually did things other than allowing the people who are supposed to pass the PPEs and hand out meals to do that. That was a photo op for this mayor.
That's right.
And the other problem I have is there are, you can't prove it, but let's see what happens. There are allegations, and I'm going to make that very clear because I know he's going to be on. They're lying again. Well, there are allegations that at a recent meeting of a committee, there were discussions about who was going to be Paul's successor. And so let's face it, Paul Coogan does not want to be the mayor of Fall River. He wanted to be the mayor of Fall River for 2 terms because he is a place setter. He's a place setter. What he's doing is walking around and getting people into positions of power and giving people jobs that maybe the next mayor can't give jobs to because there'll be a direct link to them. And it would be a conflict of interest. So there's a master plan by the cabal that he's involved with to control who the mayor of Fall River is for a long time. Now, that's not an allegation that he only wanted 2 terms, because he said that himself. And why does he only want 2 terms? Because it's going to take him 2 terms to get everybody in place, set the table for the anointed successor. And that you can say is it's a theory. And that's alleged. But the fact that he only wanted 2 terms is not an allegation or a theory, because he said that. So this is all BS. And he give him a chance. I thought I'd never see anything better than only in Fall River this can happen. I never saw I'd ever see a mayor reelected by saying, I screwed everything up in my first term, but I'll do better. And that mayor was Will Flanagan.
That's right. That's right.
But you know something? I got to give Will Flanagan credit. At least he admitted that he screwed almost everything up. But Paul will never say, oh, by the way, I want another term because I did absolutely nothing in my first term, but I'll do a little bit more in my second term. You won't see that happen.
Well, I have to change the topic right now because we only have a few minutes left, and I want to bring it out in case you missed it, people. Fall River could become a player in the developing wind energy. Mayflower Wind, that's the name of the company, chose Borden Remington as its operation and maintenance port at Borden Remington on the Taunton River is approved. If a proposal by Mayflower Wind to site an operations and maintenance port is approved at Borden Remington. Mayflower Wind wants to call themselves Commonwealth Wind so that they bring in the entire Commonwealth, unlike Vineyard Wind. Now, they still haven't gotten the contract from the state. They're still in bids with Vineyard Wind, which took the first 2 contracts. So don't put it on the shelf yet like the mayor's doing. Well, I shouldn't say that because that's not what the mayor said. The mayor said this is a positive thing for Fall River. And they're saying it's going to bring jobs to Fall River, about 500 jobs, and people are going to like it. And this is what the mayor's position has been. Now, Vineyard Wind is unionized. I don't know about Mayflower Wind because nowhere in the articles does it say anything about Mayflower Wind being unionized. And in Fall River, as you know, Chip, unionization is very important.
Yeah. Well, look, wind power. Look how good Texas did with wind power, and we're going to be in New England where we have far more brutal winters. And there are a lot of communities that don't want those
correct
things. They're ugly. And they're really not, the big move by the progressives, where, this is a wokey state, and they're all going to embrace this. But, talk about 500 jobs. You think somebody, those are technical jobs.
Right.
Those jobs, basically the Fall River workforce, those 500 jobs will go to people that are coming in, contractors who do that work. They're not coming to Fall River. And there's no program to train people. Never has been. And we've been advocating apprenticeship and work studies, et cetera, for years. But the fact is, those 500 jobs are not going to benefit Fall River.
Well, in fairness, Bristol Community College, who hosts our studios and our show, Bristol Community College does have a wind energy program that's relatively new. And this was one of the reasons, supposedly, he noted that the work being done in wind energy education with Bristol Community College, and if the state gives Mayflower Wind the contract, one of the goals will be to work with local subcontractors in future construction and maintenance of the project.
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, okay. And in deference to that statement, let me give you my idea. Bristol Community College is not a vocational college. This is going to be academic stuff. These jobs are going to be people who are doing the installation, and that's all more rhetoric.
Right. So again, this is one of the things they pointed out. So, and Seth Kaplan said, our vision is to lift up and give economic support across the entire South Coast. So he has the right political statements. Well, everybody, thanks for watching. Have a great weekend, and remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. Thanks for watching. Have a good weekend.
Vote.